G'day, hi and welcome. It was super warm out here. The sun was not behind the clouds. But here's what I'm doing. My straw. Remember my straw from the other day? Let's talk about that straw. See it? Yeah, I can sort of see it. I'm not worried about it because I'm going to do an Operation Rescue. Why? Because I have the snot picker. Alright, anyway. Here's how we do it. I knew I had this tool somewhere. Easy. It's like the lobster game. I did not get a lobster. And now it's lost for good. You were supposed to save me. You were supposed to... My straw. I'm never going to see it again. No. It's fired. That was supposed to work. I don't know. Okay. Well, I'm gonna do it anyway. I took off the bolt here. I sprayed this one last night and it actually came off. Now I got to get that out of the way. The reason why I need that straw is so I can get this stuff, not just spraying wildly all over the place. I need to focus it. I got to see if I can find another straw because in order for me to get my fuel rail off, Ford decided to do some really wacky stuff and put a whole bunch of stuff in the way. If I can just get that bracket out of the way. I got a whole bunch of hoses and everything in the way. And I'm going to have to get my tape and start marking things so that I can put things back together. Getting to that fuel rail, this is really in the way. I got to kind of move it. It's just it's just so crowded in there. There's so much wires and everything. So I have to remove this big hose here. For the, I think that's the IACV valve. Is that what that is? I don't know. Whatever it is, anyway, I got to remove it. And it's basically like a vacuum. You can see it goes onto the throttle body. And again, I don't have a manual for this thing. But basically, this is it's in the way. It's all in the way. And maybe this bracket here. I'd rather remove the bracket, put the bracket back, than have to remove hoses and stuff, because then it's just, yeah, you'll remember in 5 minutes how to put it back together, but three months later, 6 months later, you might not, right? And I have because I lost that straw, I may never get this vehicle back together again. That's how important it was. That's how important it was. Sure, they may have made 100 gazillion billion straws, and those straws are all over the world killing baby turtles, I'm sure, but you know what? That was the one I needed. So anyway, so maybe I'll try to take the bracket off instead, and then see if I can get out that last one, get it out of the way. Maybe I'll get lucky and I'll be able to get to the fuel. It's right there. You see it right there. You can see the orange fuel injector. I just need all 8 of them out. This side's not as bad because stuff flips out of the way, and I've got the rail. I got one more. I know I cracked this one. Yeah, that one's still loose. I cracked that one yesterday. I think I cracked the back one too. There's 2 bolts there, and I think there's 2 bolts there, and then the fuel rail should, in theory, come up. I have to depressurize the fuel rail. My torso just isn't long enough. Again, if a man had a garage, it'd be so awesome. But basically, on the back of the fuel rail, everything's in the way here. You can't see, but you can see this right finger is, I don't know if you can see it. That there, underneath that cap, is a valve to depressurize the fuel rail. Now, I started thinking about something about the rough running. And now, when I go to start it, it's like there's no fuel in it, right? And like, well, that truck, it's been sitting all winter as long as this one has. These 2 trucks ran at the same time last year when I parked that one. In fact, that one might have been even sitting longer, although this truck overall has been sitting longer. So I ran this truck, and it took me 3 days to get here, and it always seemed like it wasn't getting the fuel. So I started, I wonder if my rough running was a product of a leaky fuel hose or a worn out fuel pump that doesn't maintain prime. So when you get it started, there's enough fuel pressure in the line to stay running, but as soon as you give it gas, it's like tut, 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 and it's like it's just not, there's air getting in there or something like that. So maybe it's the fuel rail is done. Maybe it's It could be a whole host of things, but that does make sense that when you push on the gas and like it idles, like the idle was bouncing up and down, so you have, inconsistent fuel pressure. That could be what it is. I don't know. I have, again, the entire truck needs to be completely stripped down to everything. But anyway, I'm going to try to get the fuel injectors out, clean those. Once the fuel injectors are cleaned, they'll go back in. And I got the fuel rail out of the way. I'm going to take the plugs out, all that stuff. I really wish I could have warmed it up, got it started one more time to warm it up to get the plugs out. I'm going to try to ease the plugs out, because as soon as I strip a plug, then it's like we're talking complete tear down of the heads and everything like that. That's a big job. That'll take me all summer to get to, but little bits out of day. So if I can get the fuel rail out today, I did the throttle body yesterday. I do little bits here, little bits there. I'll see how far I get, and I'll show you when I'm done. But yeah, so yeah, does this sound like okay, I'm going to mimic 5.4 liter engine sound. So what it's like, whatever, okay? So it's running, right? But when you step on the gas, it's like that. And when you get that, once you're doing mechanics by sound, you know you've got some problems. But anyway, I've got many problems, but this is the one we're going to address today. So if there is inconsistent fuel pressure coming in from either the fuel pump side or just an air leak in the actual fuel rail, whatever, that would probably you would not be able to accelerate. You would have zero power in the engine, and that's what this engine was doing. It was like virtually no power to it. You could floor it and it would just I wasn't hearing that air leak sound that you hear. I wasn't hearing that at all from it when it was running. Now, mind you, I'm going on memory from last year, and we all know how good my memory is. What are we talking about again? Anyway, so yeah, does that sound like a problem? I mean, everything needs to be investigated, but like once you get a vehicle running, that's only half the battle. After that, you have to figure out, okay, now what's wrong with it? You know what I mean? Like, so it is a daunting task. I mean, again, this is more. Yes, it is a tribute truck to my uncle and all that, but the thing about this vehicle is that it's not something that's a priority, has to be on the road by next Wednesday type of thing. So again, if it takes me 5 years, I do enjoy this, and plus it's a good learning experience to figure out when you do encounter these problems. The next time you encounter, you almost know what to suspect. But that would give me an indication that could be a problem that I have. I mean, combination of dirty throttle body, the leaky gasket or the ripped gasket that I had, whether it was ripped before I took it off or ripped after. Maybe I got dirty injectors on top of that, and we'll see how my plugs are. The plugs are going to tell me a lot about the engine. I do not have the ability to do a compression check on this engine. I wish I did, but maybe, my delusions of grandeur with this truck was to have it on the road this year, just drive it the way it is. But if it's needs that much, it's okay, fine. I'll just, just do all the work now, and then I'll drive it in 5 years. It's just, it would have been nice to drive it the way my uncle had it, just for once before I do the major refit, right? So, but the fuel rail one, you guys tell me what you think about that fuel rail. I mean, as soon as I go to unprime it, it's like the truck, mind you, it had been sitting all winter, but even at that, the truck sat all winter and it fired right up. So that fuel means my fuel pump and fuel rail in the other truck, like it held prime. It seems like it wasn't holding prime. So it means, like, you had to roll it over until the fuel finally got to the throttle, to the injectors, right? But what I'm wondering is, if it's losing prime, is that most likely is going to be a fuel pump, but could it also be a leak somewhere else in the fuel line, fuel rail? I mean, I'm pretty sure the fuel lines on this truck are pretty rusty. I want to replace all that eventually. Yeah, so we'll see. So yeah, you guys tell me what you think. Like, how does an engine run when it's not primed properly? Like, again, when you step on the gas, you would get a complete, like, dogging out of the motor, like that kind of thing. yeah, you guys tell me what you think. All right, there we go. And please say a prayer for my straw. Yeah, I gotta get another one. Dang.